So guys, what if Naruto was Pervy Emperor in DxD Movie 3? Just make sure you don't break him, okay? Otherwise I will come for you, Hinata said as she released her own impressive Kai. Tiamat gulped, what a scary girl, thank you for your understanding, I will bring him after a week. Tiamat bowed as she prepared to teleport away. What a week. Guys, please help me. He looked at his friends with pleading eyes. What he got shocked him. Let's go play chess, Akeno. Make sure to break his leg so he doesn't run away. I am behind with my chores. Lucky bastard. Tiamat looked at Issei with narrowed eyes before she just shrugged. That other idiot can wait. Right now mama needs some action. With that she teleported away with a screaming and begging Naruto. It will be about 3 days before Naruto is seen again. Now, Graphia stood at the door with a puzzled look on her face as she stood face to face with someone she thought she would never see after a week or so. But here he was 3 days later. He stood at the door trying to put on a blank face. But he had this glow about him that said I got laid big time. This perplexed her to no end. Why was he here this early? Did he escape that dragon or did she get bored with him and let him go? Boy Gray-chan, dodges an ice dagger. Are you going to let me in? Naruto said with his hands in his pocket. He was doing his best to not have a stupid grin on his face. Those were some heck of some 3 days with that dragon lady. The things she did to him, oh man. Graphia on the other hand was popping a vein. Stop calling me that. She shouted before she compassed herself and let him in. She followed him to the living room, where the girls were assembled. Having a wicked idea in his head, Naruto did a smokeless transformation. Graphia just blinked as she saw what he did. Oh boy, he is going to get his revenge with that face on. The girls were seating in a circle drinking some tea and biscuits with Rias facing the direction Naruto was coming from. She saw someone coming into the room. At first she ignored the person thinking it was Graphia, but that person was way too short and big-headed to be her. Wait, what? She got a good look at the person, then she blinked again to make sure she wasn't seeing things. She then looked at the biscuits and tea she was drinking. Whatever the hell Graphia put into the tea or biscuits was powerful for her to be seeing things. Okay, just ignore what you are seeing and it will go away. She took another sip. Wink. She immediately spit the tea out after witnessing one of the grossest winks she had ever seen. Tea was officially ruined. The others turned to see a horrifying sight. The real stuff of nightmares that nobody wants to see. All of them spit out the tea that they were drinking. Those that weren't made sure to drink some, so that they could also spit it out. Before them was Ivankov in all her ugliness doing what was supposed to be sexy poses. But that face and that body just ruined everything. The way she smiled at them and sending kisses sent shivers down their spines. That was so disturbing. Please let me kill that thing, Akeno said as lighting started to spark around her form. Before an answer could come, the ugly thing did something that knocked everyone facing her. That wink, Ivankov shouted as she did another pose before winking at them. The reaction was instantaneous. All of the girls were blown back with blood coming from their mouths. If hot boys cause nosebleeds, then Ivankov's ugliness caused bleeding from the mouth. Naruto, seeing their reactions, couldn't take it anymore. He dispelled the transformation before he started laughing. He expected some weird reactions, but never in his wildest dreams did he expect to cause mouth bleeding. If only he had prepared a camera beforehand, this would have made a nice clip in his prank files. That wasn't very nice, Naruto-kun, and why are you back so early? I figured you two would be going at it for a while now, Hinata said as she was the one who was the first to recover. She thought she had seen it all in the shinobi world and in the Soul Society. But that face took the cake. Such ugliness should be obliterated from existence. Serves you right for the stunt you pulled. Now that wasn't very nice, Naruto said as he tried to be serious. If it wasn't very nice, then why are you glowing and trying your best not to grin like a madman? Hinata said with a knowing smirk. Naruto could only blush at being caught red-handed. And you didn't answer the question, Hinata asked. How did you escape from Tiamat and now recovered? Rias asked. Oh her, well, I walked out since she is out of commission at the moment, Naruto said with a faraway look as he recalled the things that he and the dragon lady did. What did you do to her? Did you knock her out? You could say that. I mean, I did bang her until she was unconscious, hehe, Naruto said with a pervy grin. The others could only look at him with red faces and disbelieving looks. How can he say that with a straight face? That's impossible. It's you who should be out of commission. That woman would have left you broken and dry, said a disbelieving Graphia. She knew about dragons and their mating habits. She also knew that the only ones to satisfy female dragons were male dragons, only since those guys can go at it for a while when they are in heat. For Naruto to claim such a feat was like saying the moon outshined the sun. Well, it is impossible for anyone but not me. I mean, just combine my stamina plus clones and voila, you have one satisfied dragon lady, Naruto said, not realizing that he shouldn't have said that to the girls. So you basically gang-banged her, right? Plus she won't stand a chance against the mighty Excalibur, haha, Hinata commented, making her sales pitch to the girls. Now all, and when I say all I mean all including the stoic Graphia, were blushing like crazy. They were imagining a bunch of Narutos taking turns to have their way with Tiamat, who at some point was replaced by them. Sometimes girls have wild imaginations, haha, I don't know if that's a thing. Haha, Excalibur as in the sword. Akeno asked with a blush on her face as she imagined doing all kinds of thingss and definitely, with an army of naked Narutos. You could say it's a sword, haha Hinata said as she with a pervy giggle. Oh this is so good, soon these girls will be making their move on Naruto and will be powerless to resist. Now time to plan more ways to encourage the girls to sink their teeth into him. Naruto took this as his key to leave these girls in Lala Land. He went to his room, then took out a pair of panties, then sniffed them. The aroma was so potent on this one, who knew here and into an I don't know years old dragon virgin. He really hit the jackpot this time. Putting the panties in his pocket to mention for future consumption he grinned. This is good, one down plenty more to go. This is the first step into my collection of ultimate panties. Now Graphia dear, you are next to Fufufu. Naruto laughed evilly with lightning flashing across the room. Meanwhile still in the living room, Graphia was knocked out of her daydream by a shiver that ran down her spine. She had a gut feeling that something was going to happen that would rock her world. Next day, most of the mornings Graphia usually wakes up early to do her job. She never wanted to stay in bed as it felt lonely. It reminded her so much of the broken promises that she suffered through. Waking up early and doing her job, and then only ending late at night, was the only way to take her mind off the painful memories. She was running herself rugged and she knew it. However this morning was different. This morning she actually wanted to stay in bed. It was weird, but who was she to complain? It all started with the images that Hinata girl cultivated in her head about having sex with her boyfriend. Actually it started when Naruto almost took her panties which she protected, but it ended with him briefly touching her with that technique of his. Of course she braved it so as not to show him weakness, but after that she went and took a bath, a very long bath. After that things went downhill from there as she started having weird dreams about her and Naruto. Worse, there was the Tiamat incident where Hinata was insinuating that Naruto was a beast in the sack. This all contributed to the very pleasant morning she was having right now, dreaming about a certain someone. The dream felt so real too. She could only squirm about in her bed as waves of pleasure pulsed throughout her body. She didn't know that she was making noises which were heard by the residents of the mansion. Oh man, she didn't want to wake up from this dream. Her hand moved towards her nether region, her legs spread wide open, intending on massaging it to further stimulate herself. She was met with what felt like a mop of hair. That's weird. She moved her hands around the hair which seemed to be attached to a head. Wait, what? Her eyes shot wide open as she felt that someone was in her bed with his or her head between Graphia's legs. How did someone get into her room without her noticing? Quickly she threw the covers away to find a sight that she hoped she would never see. That's debatable. Outside, a few of the residents were assembled outside Graphia's room. They were all concerned about the sounds that they were hearing from her room. There was no male other than Naruto that came last night. Plus the only other males that usually came were Kiba and Issei. Also she didn't bring anyone here either, so it was either she was going at it with Naruto or she was doing some self-servicing. So the girls all nodded to each other as they opened the door to see a very interesting sight. It was also the same time that Graphia threw the covers off. Her eyes popped wide open as she saw what was going on. Her eyes widened further when she noticed she had an audience who too were frozen in shock. There between Graphia's amazing legs was Naruto, who was busy eating her pantala sacred place like there was no tomorrow. The sheets were drenched with Graphia's juices resulting from Naruto's ministration. For the first time in her life, Graphia blushed like a school's girl and was at a loss for words. As if the universe was playing some sick joke, Naruto mumbles tasty in a Candy Crush voice, making Graphia blush even further, as well as the girls enjoying the show. Said boy the rose his head showing his sleepy face. He then got up and stretched as he looked around to find that he was not on his room. He looked at the door to see a bunch of blushing girls looking at him for some odd reason. What the heck was going on, and whose room was this anyway? Looking down, he was met with Graphia, her legs spread wide open, giving him a good view of her heavenly place. He immediately blushed a storm as he tried his best not to look, but the image was already saved in his hand. Worse, Excalibur was trying to disobey him again, but damn, that was quite a view. So that's what she was hiding under that maid dress of hers, Naruto thought. But what the heck am I doing here, and how did I get here for Pete's sake? Okay, now that's a view a guy would like to wake up to. But do any of you know how this happened? Cause I really would like the details, Naruto said in a nervous voice. Graphia did something that shocked all who knew her. For the first time in her life she screamed, like an actual girl. Please note this was the only way she could react since well her stoic mask wouldn't do shit. Yeah, she started to throw staff at Naruto that to this day he is still wondering where that staff came from. It started with a smaller staff like cups, then plates, then dishes. At some point it graduated to kitchen sinks and bathtubs, which nailed Naruto in the head. The poor, lucky boy had to hightail out of the room with a few lumps on his face. Poor Graphia was left subjected to various kinds of stirs, but the worst being from Hinata. The girl was wearing a mischievous grin on her face like one of her crazy plans just worked. Come to think of it, oh damn, that girl is so devious. Almost there, haha, just a little push, Hinata thought. But her thoughts were projected outside by a dark aura that surrounded her as she cackled like a madman. Grafia just buried herself in her covers, but the smell of her arousal was driving her nuts. Maybe one of those very long baths would do her some good. Yeah, a very long bath. But Naruto, we find the boy holed up in his room blocking the door with various objects. No need for that crazy woman to badge in and turn him into a popsicle. Once done, he had to review what had happened this morning. First, he didn't wake up in his bed, meaning he was sleepwalking again. Second, and most importantly, he ate freaking Grafia's cherry. Awesome. He could still taste her and he liked how she tasted. Thirdly, you scored number 2 in 1 week. Zirconus chimed in. Oh, there is his resident voice of depravity. Haven't heard from him in a while. And what did he mean by number 2? Feeling something in his pocket, he fished out something he thought was unattainable. Grafia's freaking panties. Lucky he didn't eat them in his sleep, maybe he unconsciously thought of his dream, hence why the panties are still around. The whole house shook as Naruto shouted at the top of his lungs. Yes, finally, I got them ultimate panties number 2. Icy flavor mwahaha. Soon with the power of the ultimate panties I will be unstoppable, Naruto shouted while standing on top of the house, while twirling the panties in the air like Kazuma. Everyone just sweat dropped while Grafia sank in the tube to hide her embarrassment. It's going to be a while before she could look at Naruto again. Later that day, what the hell? Ravel had seen many things and creatures in her life, some were cute and some were downright scary, but they all shared one thing in common, they all had habitats they stayed in, so what the hell was this creature doing inside the house? Ravel had decided to start doing the housework since Grafia was incapacitated after this morning's fiasco. She cleaned the house and was heading to the fridge to get some fruit when she came upon an interesting sight. Appa, she came face to face with a behemoth of a man, dark-skinned and blue hair. Said behemoth looked at her with a happy confused face. He wasn't threatening in the least, but his stature was very intimidating. Appa Apachai was just getting some drinks before he goes on to train his students. Appa Appa and away, said the now dubbed Apachai as he sprinted outside in the blink of an eye, leaving a very confused Ravel. This house is going to drive me nuts, she said before she was grabbed from behind and ended up in the yard with the others. Looking at everyone, she could see most held annoyed looks, while others like Shulin were confused. They boys on the other hand held a look of fear. Okay, today Apachai sensei is taking over training. Firstly, girls, you go and do some physical exercises to strengthen those muscles of yours. Secondly, guys, I am going to teach you a new fighting style, no weapons, Appa Apachai said in a cheerful disarming manner. Can we stay and watch? Akeno asked in her own cute way. She knew this was Naruto transformed, and she knew he liked that anime where he got the character from, but what she knew was once Naruto transforms he has something in mind to liven things up. The others girls decided to stick around too and see this new fighting style. Sensei Apachai turned to his victims, I mean soon to be corpses, I mean soon to be dead students. Oh, you get the point, said boys were prepared for whatever was to come. No tricks this time, no honey and no bees. Too bad they didn't see the anime, otherwise they would have ran for their lives. Today I am going to teach you Muay Thai boxing. Muay Thai is the art of bare hand man killing. It will help you to kill your way out of any fight. Apachai introduced, getting sweat drops from everyone. Dude, we just want to learn hand to hand, not how to murder anything that moves, Issei said with a huge sweat drop. You will think about complicated stuff like that after your opponent is dead. Use your thinking for killing, or it will get you killed, Apachai said, trying to impersonate a Chinese master. This is a really bad idea, was that general thought that ran across everyone's mind. So Naruto, I mean Apachai introduced the boys to the use of the basic stance of Muay Thai boxing, called the Tenggad Mai, hope I got this right, which centered on the use of elbows and knees. Muay Thai is a very delicate fighting style. If you use it right you can kill your opponent, if you use it wrong you can kill your opponent. Now training is over, it's time to spar, Appa Apachai said before he started to randomly destroy training dummies that were in the training ground. This really scared the scrape out of the two boys. Kiba, I think we should run before he kills us, Issei said as he slowly backed away. Kiba just nodded as he too backed away, but they ran into a brick wall that was Apachai, who just magically teleported around them. Shit, where are you guys going? Let's spar to the death. Appa, hell no. Help us. Training brats is sure is fun. You know, Naruto didn't expect to be enjoying himself this much. He didn't expect his life in a new world to be this much fun. He had made friends who he held very close to his heart, like a special few in the elemental nations. He could honestly say that when it comes down to it, he would offer up his life for theirs. These were his precious people now. He enjoyed everything about his life now. Sure, there were many dangers out there lurking waiting to be unleashed, and he had a feeling that he would be in so many adventures, but despite that he really liked being here. Even his new partner and his perviness were fun. Zirconus was someone he really needed after the loss of his friends the Biju. He reminded him of that pervy Nico Matatabi. And stealing and eating panties was becoming fun too. One thing that came to him unexpectedly which he now noticed about his previous life was how much popular he was with girls and how dense he was. If he wanted a harem in his world he would have had it. I mean there was Hinata, Shion Koyuki, Sasame and Shizuka. He really was stupid when he tried to be popular and cool in front of girls at the academy. Be yourself and you will find that special someone. That was what his sister, the one who took care of him, told him, and it was true. His real character did attract someone's special and he was glad, and now here he was being surrounded by girls again who he was pretty sure had feeling for him. It was all thanks to his character and that perverted Hinata. Honestly, she keeps this up, that dragon lady won't be his only concern. He had noticed the changes in the girls. They were making not so subtle advances towards him. When he spared with Kaneko and Shulin, they weren't that much afraid to flash him their panties. He accidentally walked in on Ria's and Akeno bathing, getting a very good view. Ravel was doing her best to get to him through her cooking. Grafia for now was making herself scarce, but she was planning something. The only one he was concerned was Asia. He had lived with a girl and she was attached to him, so he figured she felt so insecure about the competition she was receiving from the other girls. She had her own charms which she didn't know about. He liked her as well as all the girls. Crap, the harem thing was getting in his blood. You already have a harem of 2 at the moment, you know that, right? Zirkinus chimed in. Oh, shut up you, I am not that crazy to want that many girls. Naruto shouted at his partner. It was like Zirkinus and Hinata talked to each other behind his back to get him to agree with the harem thing. Anyway, back to the Asia thing, he had to talk to her soon before it's too late and sort out his feelings for the while he was at it. What he didn't know was someone had other ideas and soon he would have a massive harem. Hinata was fascinated by Asia the moment she saw her. Asia was like a previous version of her. So shy, so innocent, so cute, she lacked confidence, but it was part of her charm. Hinata had noticed how she had given up when she saw who she was competing with. Asia thought she didn't have the right stuff to make Naruto react to her like the other girls. Well, she was wrong. Time for a little Hinata creativity. Are you sure about this, Hinata? What if he dosed like it, said a shy and blushing Asia. Are you crazy? I know Naruto, he will love it. It will show you just how much of an effect you have on him, Hinata said as she pushed Asia down the hallway towards where Naruto was. She made sure that the other boys were out of the house. The other girls just watched in amusement as Asia came face to face with Naruto. Hi Naruto, Asia all but stuttered in embarrassment as started to act all shy, trying to look away. Oh, big mistake, because that was one hell of a killer move she pulled. Combined with what Hinata made aware, well, let's just say Naruto didn't stand a chance. Naruto stood there frozen in his place. The glass of juice he had in his hand had already hit the ground. What Naruto was seeing was something he never thought he would see. If Jiraiya ever saw this, he would immediately die. Holy cow, I didn't know the girl had it in her. Dude, take her and bang her right now. Zirkinus shouted at his partner but got no response. Oh boy, the dude had a meltdown already. There in the hallway stood Asia. She was cute in whatever she wore, but damn, this was too much. A killer combo indeed. She was wearing a black skimpy nun outfit that left little to the imagination. Just think of any slutty nun outfit, and her innocence did more harm than good. An innocent nun in a skimpy outfit, that's one heck of a porn recipe. Poor boy just went blank before he was blown back by a nosebleed. Asia won. Naruto -20. Beef, that's my girl. See, I told you that you will knock him out. Hinata praised Asia. Honestly, Yoruichi rubbed off on her more than she thought. Oh, the ideas she had for Naruto were just XXX rated to mention. Now one final move in Harem League for the win, haha. The other girls couldn't believe it. Asia gave Naruto a nosebleed KO. The girl had moved far ahead of them. Well, time for them to catch up too. Poor Naruto, that week he was subjected to various cosplays that he almost died of blood loss. I mean, slutty witches, slutty princesses and skimpy maids were just too much for him, and Excalibur was reaching his breaking point. Soon he will slaughter all these girls. Next day after school we find Ria's peerage meeting with Sona's for an important meeting. Things have been happening in their territory, and they couldn't just ignore it. Plus it didn't help that they would be getting some visitors from the church. So here we are with both peerages seating on opposite side of each other. However, Sona and her queen were glaring at Naruto for some reason he forgot. How convenient. Okay Sona, you are going to have to get over it. I mean, it's just a few panties. We on the other hand had to replace our entire stock twice this week, Ria said with a sigh. Naruto had been particularly very hungry for panties this week. Alright, but if he does anything I will kill him, Sona said as she put emphasis by leaking out her aura of doom, but all she got was Naruto looking at her with a very familiar glimmer in his eyes. As he licked his lips, Sona just shivered. Moving on, we are expecting 2 exorcists from the church anytime this week. From what my sister told me, someone stole some Excalibur fragments, and the church suspects they are hiding here, so we are going to have to assist them as a show of good faith. It's also a chance to make peace with the church, Sona said with Ria's nodding. However, it also meant that they would have to be careful around them. Those exorcists were strong, and coupled with their holy weapons they become trouble. If they tried anything they would have to defend themselves. So are they sending someone like shitty priest? Naruto asked. If the church is full of nut jobs like him, then he would have to stay, Sona just looked at Riaz for an explanation. It's a stray exorcist we ran into when we met Asia, and don't worry, I don't think they will send someone like that in a delicate matter like this, Riaz said, reassuring Naruto. Oh good, well in that case I bid you good luck, I am going to be gone for a while, so please make sure you be careful, okay? Now that surprised everyone. Where was he going anyway, and why didn't he tell anyone? And where are you going, Riaz asked. Oh, Sona-chan is going to hook me up with her sister. I want to visit the underworld forges and see if I can get some weapons made for you guys. Well, I restock mine, Naruto answered. As he learned from past experience, it's not good to rely on power alone. You need some weapons to help out, and the girls needed some. Biba was covered, and Issei had Drake plus other than X-ray glasses. He had no idea which weapon suit Issei. Oh, that's it. Why did you tell me this sooner? And why would I hook you up with my sister? Sona also asked, folding her hands. If he thinks she is going to bend over and do whatever he tell her, well, he has another thing coming. 1. You are cute council president, and 2. It's not good for your reputation if people find out you walk around commando, Naruto said with a smirk as he twirled around a certain someone's panties. Sona's peerage was shocked when they saw their leader's panties in Naruto's hands. How the hell does he do that? Riaz and her peerage just face-palmed. Sona on the other hand thought of an idea. How about a wager? If you beat me in a game of chess, then I will hook you up with my sister. D-lo, this was perfect. There is no way in hell Naruto can beat her in chess. Ah, Sona, I don't think that a good idea, Riaz said, having played with Naruto a few times and lost badly. Plus she already knew what was at stake if Sona lost. Okay, if that's the case, then if you lose then your peerage will give me their panties too. Haha, Naruto let out a perverted giggle. Sona, being so confident in herself, agreed. Well, press your ass is mine, Naruto declared, getting a blush from Sona. That statement could be interpreted in so many different ways, but she does have a nice ass. 8 games later we find an almost catatonic Sona who lost all 8. Their female members of her peerage decided to make themselves scarce, but it was too late. Naruto was already counting his loot which he so graciously liberated after his second win, and what a haul it was. Haha. Told you it was a bad idea. All I can say now is welcome to the harem league, Riaz said uncharacteristically as she enjoyed her friend's defeat. She did warn her after all. I can't believe I am going to marry this pervert, Sona mumbled incoherently as she tried to process what just happened. She used every trick she knew in the book, every strategy, but he just seemed to counter her easily. Are marry who now? Naruto asked, hoping he misheard her. You see, Sona made a vow that whoever beats her in a chess game will marry her, and since you did many times, might I add, you sealed your fate, Riaz explained as she enjoyed seeing the color drain from both Naruto and Sona. What a sight indeed. What? Well, press your ass is mine, Naruto declared, getting a blush from Sona. That statement could be interpreted in so many different ways, but she does have a nice ass. 8 games later we find an almost catatonic Sona who lost all 8. Their female members of her peerage decided to make themselves scarce, but it was too late. Naruto was already counting his loot which he so graciously liberated after his second win, and what a haul it was. Haha. Told you it was a bad idea. All I can say now is welcome to the harem league, Riaz said uncharacteristically as she enjoyed her friend's defeat. She did warn her after all. I can't believe I am going to marry this pervert, Sona mumbled incoherently as she tried to process what just happened. She used every trick she knew in the book, every strategy, but he just seemed to counter her easily. Are marry who now? Naruto asked, hoping he misheard her. You see, Sona made a vow that whoever beats her in a chess game will marry her, and since you did many times, might I add, you sealed your fate, Riaz explained as she enjoyed seeing the color drain from both Naruto and Sona. What a sight indeed. What? Now, Issei had always wanted to get back at Naruto for all the shit he put them through during training. He wanted to see Naruto lost that smug grin from his face, but damn it, someone beat him to it, and by mistake too. Not that he was complaining. It's not every day you get to see Naruto left speechless and pale white as a sheet, which is why he was taking pictures for future use. Poor Naruto didn't know what to do. He is leaving with a bunch of girls. Hinata is a pervert who wants him to have a harem. He eat Graffia's deal in his sleep, banged a dragon lady for 3 days non-stop, and now he has unknowingly placed himself as a marriage candidate for Sona. What next? Bang her sister. Sona tried to compose herself, but she was reduced to a stuttering mess. So I will contact my sister and tell her to accompany you to the forges, she stuttered. Naruto was too shocked to answer her, so they had to take him home, which was a task assigned to Kaneko. The girl was all too happy to take Naruto home by dragging him by the feet, making sure his head bumps on every object along the way. If Naruto had been in the right state of mind, he would have noticed the change that was happening in Kiba. But Sona's situation did cause something to stare inside the girls. The talk about marrying Naruto made the girls realize that they had to make their move and fast. The next few days were going to be busy for Naruto. When they got home, they found Hinata waiting for them. In her mind, she was going to play the last card up her sleeve to send the girls over the edge. Her first move of screaming her guts out when they had her welcome back sex marathon was to get them all hot under their loins. Heh. The other moves were preparatory moves, and now she was going for the knockout punch. After this she was going to have lots of harem sisters. First she had to kick the other boys out, literally, although she did frown when she noticed the mood the pretty boy was in. Med deal with that later. Now time to enact get me some harem sisters plan into motion. As of now, after snapping Naruto out of his funk, she told him, alone, to use the large bathhouse. They would use it later. Naruto, being in a daze, didn't see the naughty grin appearing on her face, nor did he really stop to think what Hinata was actually planning. Next she went and assembled all the other girls, even the guests, so in the room was Rias, Akeno, Asia, Kaneko, Shulin, Ravel and Grafia. Although she didn't want to be there, Hinata had thought about getting the dragon lady here, but Tiama got some action, and the other girls hadn't yet, plus she didn't know how to contact her. She heard that Naruto did a very good job that Tiamat had taken to training her replacement, so she could come and live with them. So girls, what do you say we all get a nice hot bath as girls? It will be fun, and we will get to know each other better, Hinata suggested, trying to hide her intentions. Some of the girls agreed. But what are you planning? Rias asked, folding her arms. She knew Hinata was planning something. She may try to hide it, but her pervy grin was slipping back on from time to time. Oh, nothing much, just a way for you girls to get ahead before other girls from outside get in on the action. At this, Rias froze as she contemplated what was happening. Sona was her rival, and now she had set her sights on Naruto after losing the chess games. Because Rias was very competitive in nature, she cold let her rival get ahead of her, so she agreed. Grafia just went on with it, wanting to see where things would end up, plus she also had to sort out her conflicting feelings. All the girls assembled in the bathhouse took off all their clothes, although some were shy, while some felt inadequate when they saw the big boobs of others. Hinata decided to make things fun by starting to fondle the other girls. This caused a chain reaction. Some girls started running around away from the perv, some like Akeno joined in, and some fell victim to the pervs. This was the scene our poor protagonist stumbled upon. Naruto was almost naked with only a towel shielding Excalibur from being seen. He wasn't paying attention to his surroundings, so imagine to his surprise when he came upon Akeno pinning Shulin to the ground and Hinata licking Ravel. The bathhouse was full of naked women, no, not women, but goddesses. Super hot and naked goddesses. There was Rias in all her glory, Akeno too, and cute Asia and Kaneko. His eyes were busy saving every second of this before Grafia goes batshit and beats the crap out of him. Holy shit, we hit the mother load. Bang them all, I command thee, Zirkinus urged his partner, but again he got no response. Naruto was busy saving everything he can into his memory banks. However, someone long neglected wanted to come out and play, and he did. Just as Grafia was about to throw a fit again, she stopped. In fact, almost every girl froze, except for Hinata, of course. Naruto's nether regions couldn't take it anymore. The constant bombardment was too much. This scene was the last straw. Slowly Excalibur began to come out of his sheath. That mighty sword which slew Tiamat wanted to slay more victims again, and they were all in front of him. The towel, oh, the poor towel was doing a very piss job of containing that mighty sword. With one swing, the towel fell from Naruto's waist, giving the girls a very good view of the might sword. The girls all froze as they saw the huge thing. It was about 13 inches long and 2 inches thick. They could see it twitching a few times, and the angry veins with blood coursing through them throbbing. What a frightening and magnificent sight indeed. Truly that thing earned the title Excalibur, the Lady Slayer. The girls all took in the sight before them, from the handsome Naruto to his mighty sword, mostly his mighty sword. Others were having some thoughts, main one being that thing is going to slit me in half, and even more XXX rated thoughts. If you heard the phrase it was a bloodbath, this would apply here because it surely was a bloodbath. It started with Naruto, who was blown back with a mega nosebleed, followed by all the other girls. Grafia was no exception. She had been eyeballing that sword like a piece of meat, various scenarios running in her head. So in the end the only one left standing was Hinata, because she had seen it plenty of times, although this didn't stop her from having a nosebleed of her own. And thus to this day that event was known as the Excalibur bloodbath, because the bathhouse was covered in blood, lots of it. Aha, last phase completed, now all that's left is for the girls to willingly fall upon the mighty sword. Sniff, Hinata said as she wiped some blood coming from her nose. Damn, you are one devious girl. Do you know that Zirkinus said, very impressed by the girls' planning. He didn't foresee witnessing a bloodbath such as this one. I don't see you complaining, Hinata said as she made a few clones who helped her get everyone to their rooms. Their next few days were going to be fun, haha. And fun they were, for Hinata at least. For others it was pleasure, the girls, and for Naruto, well, let's just say he was very busy. With his mighty sword Naruto conquered the residents of his mansion. The first to fall was Rias. The busty Redeed ambushed Naruto the moment he woke up and was impelled by the sword in missionary and doggy style for 1 hour. The next to fall was Akeno, who after Rias was done being impelled, she goaded Naruto to try and outlast her. She didn't last 30 minutes, as all her holes were impelled at the same time by 3 Excaliburs. The next to fall was Grafia, who tried to fight her urges but succumbed. She was impelled in every way possible for 5 hours and was left catatonic. The next to fall was Asia. The former nun showed Naruto a side of her that even surprised the author. After getting used to being impelled, she rode the mighty sword like a woman possessed and even offered to be impelled in her other lower hole. Shulin was the next to fall. She was impelled in the training ground against the wall until she couldn't walk. In fact, she started walking properly 3 days later. The last two to fall were Kaneko and Ravel. The kitty cat decided to play with the fox and ended up being impelled by his might sword in the shower. She meowed, literally. Ravel was the last to fall after she tried to resist. But that mighty sword always popped up in her dreams. Well, that was until she woke up to see the fox eating her and then ended up impelling her with his mighty sword. And that concludes Excalibur's amazing conquest in the mansion. And now all the women of the mansion belong to Naruto. Oh, and did I mention that Naruto snapped after impelling Ria's? Oh, he didn't care anymore. He made sure that he banged the girls so hard they only wanted him. So yeah, he now had a harem. Lucky bastard. Poor Issei. He cried himself to sleep for days after he found out what happened. His dream was gone. After that, Naruto went on several dates with the girls to get to know more about each other and establish an even deeper connection between them. So far the progress was, but he hasn't gotten to the point where he can say he loves them like he does to Hinata. He cares for them deeply that he was sure of it's only a matter of time, that's all. Naruto stepped out of the teleportation circle and looked around. He was greeted by the underworld's pride and joy, its capital Lilith. How he got here? Well, Sona called him to tell him that her sister had sent an attendant to escort him to the underworld. When he got to Sona's office, he saw a black-haired pretty boy with a Shikamaru-type hairstyle waiting for him with Sona. Sona explained that this was the attendant sent to escort him. Said attendant looked like he wanted to eat him to spit him out by the look he was receiving behind Sona's back. Man, he only just met the guy, and already the guy hates him. He hasn't even pranked him too, so Naruto just went along with the guy. But not before Sona warned him not to cause any trouble. She looked so cute when she stuttered sending him off. She looked like a worried wife seeing her husband off. Naruto contemplated on kicking the pretty boy out so he could bend Sona on her table and bang her. Zirkinus wasn't making things easier too by telling the various positions he and Sona could do it. So here he was in Lilith with a guy that probably wants to kill him. Yay, good luck with that. Who was escorting him through the city to the center where the mass offices were. Okay, say it, what the hell have I done to you to warrant such hostility? Naruto asked the boy, not too concerned about the matter. The boy however stiffened at being called out. I don't know what you are talking about. He tried to cover up his intent, but Naruto could read his emotions like a book. He still had Kurama's empathy ability after all. Dude, I know you are lying. You are a really bad liar just like me, haha. Anyway, I have experience with people being hostile to me, so I can tell. So what did I do to you? Naruto asked. The guy, seeing that he was caught, decided to let everything out when they were in a secluded area. What is it that you have that I don't have? I am powerful, I am a full blood from a recognized family, and I have the looks to boot. So why is it that Lady Seraphil is so obsessed with you? She talks about you almost all the time. It started when she came back from that raiding game with Between Your Peerage and Razor Sama. She kept talking about how cool you were, and it is driving me crazy. Okay, he didn't see that coming. Why is she so obsessed with him? Maybe it was his technique. A lot of women did beat the shit out of their husband to make them try to convince him to teach them his technique after all. Or maybe it's his character he didn't know. But what he knew was this kid liked Seraphil. But the feeling was not mutual from Seraphil's side. Okay dude, I really didn't know about that. But that's no reason to hate me. I mean, it happens, you know. It even happened to me back in the day when I was a kid too. So I know how you feel. Naruto really sympathized with the kid. He really didn't know what the heck happened, but the kid was heartbroken. Maybe a story from his side would help. Oh really, you know what it's like to have someone you like talk about someone else he is a god. It hurts a lot, and I didn't even tell her how I feel. Damn it, the boy ranted. So Naruto decided to tell him a little about his little phase where he was infatuated by Sakura blah blah blah. You know the rest, Cannon Crush, it's all made up. He made up the story. I mean, it is just a story, it doesn't have to be real. He at first had a thing for Sakura, but snapped out of it. This was a story of what would have happened if he pursued that course of action. The canon story of course, but our guy didn't really need to know that, as long as the story helps him out, that good enough. The boy listened attentively to the story. He really began to see that he and Naruto were like, no, not really, he was better than him. He could have any girl he wanted, which wasn't Seraphil of course. He was too blinded by his puppy dog love to not really notice the other girls around him. Well, he will abandon his stupid pursuit and look elsewhere. He turned around to thank Naruto only find that he was alone. There was a Naruto shape of dotted lines where Naruto should be. The boy looked around, but couldn't find him anywhere. Fuck, Seraphil was going to kill him. With Naruto etched on top of a building was a figure shrouded in darkness watching the people, or devils if you will, of the city. The figure held an aura of mysteriousness around him. The wind blew, raffling his hair and flapping his black cape. Hey you moron, I don't have a cape. Okay, he didn't have a cape. This was Naruto in a Batman pose. Look at them, partner. Look at all those prisoners who await a hero to come and save them. Their wait is over because I am here. Soon you shall be free to take to the skies and soar through the air. And then I will eat you. Hehehe. Naruto spoke in a Batman voice, but it degraded to a feat of perverted giggles. You just want to test out our new technique and have food at the same time, right? asked knowing very well what his partner was planning on doing. Naruto came to him with the idea after watching a very interesting anime. After several trials and errors, they finally achieved what they were hoping for. They hadn't thoroughly tested it, but this was a good place to do a field test. Just one problem. You do know that once you do this the Mao will be after you, right? Don't worry man, they will be too busy dealing with the mess to deal with us. Now time to start the show. Naruto smirked as he cast his jutsu. Pervy style. Panty flock. Now my beauties fly to freedom, wahahaha. Cue lightning flash in the background. On the streets below, the unsuspecting victims were busy doing whatever it was they were doing. Everything was peaceful, quiet and tranquil, until something weird happened. There was a surge of magical power, and all hell broke loose. That's ironic seeing as they were in the underworld. It started with one woman on the street who was minding her own business, when suddenly in her pants something started flapping about trying to escape. It sounded like wings of a bird, but that's just absurd, right? The woman tried to hold her pants together while wondering what was going on. That's when the thing got out. She got a good look at it, and her eyes widened. It was her panties, and they were flying like a bird. Challenge. Can anyone tell me from which anime I got this? The panties flapped in front of her for a while before they took off. Before she could even contemplate on what was going on, she heard multiple screams. Many women in the city were having trouble with their panties which were escaping from them. You could see panties of all shapes, sizes, colors and designs flying around, taking off into the air. What a nightmare for anyone who was a woman. As for the men, well, let's just say they were left blushing and frozen. I mean, who won't when you find out all the women in the city are walking around commando? All that was left was a mysterious breeze to lift those damn skirts. Haha. The city was full of panties which were flying in flocks. They were so many they outnumbered the flying creatures of the city. Most of the city residents were looking up, seeing the spectacle before them, as they witnessed something never seen before. Flying panties, oh, and they were flying in formations too. The woman with blonde hair was left speechless as her very naughty panties bought by her husband ran away from her. Her red-headed son, who was around 11, looked at her confused. The blonde-haired woman was lucky she was wearing a long regal dress of nobles, otherwise it would have been a disaster. She blushed as she grabbed her son and teleported out of there to find her husband, intending on telling him what happened. Yes, fly my pretties fly, mwahaha. Naruto laughed like a maniac. That was until a lone pair of panties flew to him and landed on his shoulder like a bird. Looking at the black-laced lingerie, he couldn't help but wonder who they belonged to. Why, rent you an exquisite little thing, Naruto said. What happened next was something that would be considered crazy. He started communicating with the panties which were flapping its wings and making gestures as a way of communicating. It wanted to visit the one that bought them before returning with the others. When it informed him of who bought them, Naruto couldn't help but grin. Oh sweet payback, that redhead was in for a surprise. At Mao HQ. The HQ was unaffected by the spell due to it having a large barrier around it, so they didn't immediately see the drama. Well, that was until a few females stepped out. That's when the show began. The guards standing outside could only watch in strange fascination and confusion and horror for the female guards. Outside the barrier was chaos. People running around like headless chickens and panties flying around. But that doesn't mean the effect was negated when the person is affected outside. Panties can come and go in the barrier as they please, like those that were patched on a tree near the guards. So who wants to step outside and check things out? Asked a male guard. Oh hell no, I am not going out there and have my underwear running amok, said a female guard. I will go, I don't have anything underneath, said another female guard with a straight face. Inside HQ, the Mao were about to have a meeting. Akuja, Serafal and Falbium were there. The only one left was Serziches, who was running a bit late. Suddenly a guard bust into the conference room, startling the Mao. What is the meaning of this? Falbium asked in a commanding tone. He was startled and lost the sleep that was catching up to him, so he was grumpy. I am sorry my lord, but we have a situation that needs Akuja-sama's immediate attention. The guard stuttered under the intense gaze of the Mao. And what would that be? Are we under attack? Akuja asked. The other Mao were also ready to get into action. I think so, sir, but you have to see it to determine what it is we are dealing with, the guard said as he went to the screen in the room and typed something. Soon the feed from multiple cameras placed around the city was beamed on the screen. The Mao stood stark still, trying to process what they were seeing. Never in their mind did they envision this would happen. Well, after that rating game maybe it was possible. Are you seeing what I am seeing? Akuja asked, jaws hitting the floor. If you are seeing flying panties, then yeah, I am. What the heck did they put in RT to make us see the same absurd thing? Falbium answered, his mind already in the gutter. If those panties were flying around, then that means their owners sniff blood comes out of his nose as he looked at Serafal. Hey, don't look at me, perv. I still got my panties on. Well, Akuja-tan, good luck. I am going to make sure I keep my magical undergarments till Naruto-tan gets here, Cephal said as she went back to her seat. Wait, he is here? Both men asked, getting a nod from Serafal before all had a look of realization. It was him. Well, fuck this shit, I am going to sleep, Akuja said as he went straight for the door to his private bedchambers. There was no way in hell he was going to deal with panties. Who knows, he might lose his in the process. He was about to open the door when it bust open and a red blur ran into him. Akuja-chan, you gotta help me, it won't leave me alone. Surziches cried out to his friend in a state of panic. Akuja looked at his friend in confusion. Hey, don't worry Surziches, we will figure thing out after this fiasco blows over. Just prepare a statement for the press and Akuja didn't finish his statement as he saw why his friend was in a state of panic. Who won't? Patched on Surziches' shoulders was a pair of black laced lingerie that he recognized. After all, Surziches dragged him through many lingerie shops to buy those. Well, this was embarrassing. A man with a pair of panties on his shoulders as a bird. What next? An eye patch, a pirate hat and a hooked hand, and a name that goes something like Captain Panty Shot or Captain Black Laces. Akuja tried his best not to laugh. You are making fun of me in your head, are you? Surziches said with a childish pout. To make matters worse for Surziches. Honey, we got a problem. There is, said Redeed's wife. The blonde woman from before came in and froze as she saw what was on Surziches' shoulders. The redhead panicked even more when he saw the changing demeanor on his wife and the flames that ignited from her hands. Yeah, she was very pissed. Honey, it's not what you think. He didn't finish as he was subjected to the righteous fury. Do devils have this? Of his wife, the guards didn't want to get involved lest they too be beaten to a bloody pulp. They felt sorry for their leader. Popcorn? Serafal offered as they watched Surziches getting his ass handed to him. Akuja just shrugged and accepted the popcorn. The woman was vicious. There is a time for bros helping each other out, and then there is this. So she is not wearing panties, heh? Serafal asked with a smirk, earning a scream from Surziches as his wife beat him even more. Back home, Issei was trying something called DevilTube. He was browsing the videos when something caught his attention. He played the video and his eyes widened. Hey guys, come and take a look at this. He shouted, attracting the attention of the others at Naruto's home. When they saw their video, their eyes widened before they sighed. It was a news clip, the incident in Lilith. They could see panties flying around and women panicking. Issei, thinking of the implications, was knocked out by a nosebleed. Seriously, he just got there and he is causing this much chaos. Ria said with a sigh. I am going to kill him, said a blushing Sona who had visited the others. Well, at least he is stepping up his game, said Akeno with a smirk. The others just sweat dropped. After the fiasco, Naruto met up with the panicking young man. Well, that was after he took all the panties and sealed them into his pocket dimension. He was glad he increased the space of that thing. Otherwise he would have to eat some of this goodness now. They waited a bit for things to blow over before they went to see Serafal, making sure to avoid the other Mao. Along the way they saw Surziches running away from his wife with a pair of panties Naruto recognized patched on his shoulder, refusing to leave. That knew those panties are attached to that guy that they refuse to come back to Naruto. Maybe they will become Surziches' secondary familiar or messenger panties, haha. When they got to Serafal's office, Naruto was glummed by the Mao, earning a glare from the young man he was with. Sheesh, the dude still has it out for him. The guy left the two alone but reluctantly. After that, Serafal subjected Naruto to 5 hours of watching her show, along with other magical garment girl variants. He had to admit the show did have a lot of panty shots and a good storyline, even though it was cheesy. But the panty shots were his main takeaway. They visited the forges the next day where he handed the smith the designs that he had made. Both the Mao and the smith were impressed by the level of detail and ideas the boy had. After that, Naruto had to wait for the weapons to be made. This meant spending more time with Serafal. He had to admit she was the exact opposite of Sona. She was cheerful and bubbly with a flair for embarrassing Sona. She was fun to be around. When the weapons were finished, Naruto collected them and promised to visit Sarah and also mess around in the underworld so they could have a laugh later. He stated that the underworld was not bright enough so he might brighten it. He asked Sarah what was the deal between Grafia and Surziches, but she that said it was Grafia's place to tell and not hers. She also surprised Naruto by giving him her panties for free. Score more ultimate panties. His collection was increasing. Before he left, he gave her a peck on the cheeks before teleporting away, leaving a blushing Mao. Back home, Naruto left the weapons at home before he went to the Orc, where he found an interesting situation. On one side he could see what he assumed to be the exorcists from the church. On the other side was the peerage along with Sona. What was interesting was the state Issei and Kiba were in. It looked like they had gone through a battle with the dirt, cuts and bruises they had. The exorcist also had some minor cuts and bruises, but Asia was taking care of things. Also, Kiba was in a very sore mood, glaring at the exorcists. Okay, do I really want to know what happened to you two? Naruto asked, startling everyone as he snuck in without anyone sensing him. This was part of their training, and he was going to make sure they were aware of their environment. Maybe paintballs would do the trick. Stop doing that. As for what happened, those two got their asses kicked. Rias answered against the protest of the two boys. Who knows what will happen when Naruto finds out they lost. They lost, eh? Good for them, it only means more training for them. Heh, Naruto cackled as he envisioned what tortures he was going to subject those two. Said boys were lamenting having lost, and they were wondering if they would just pack their stuff and disappear. They did put up a good fight though. They were just distracted, and the fight was close. Two Rias tried to make the boys earn some points. It only shows that the one who trained them sucks, said the blue-haired on in a condescending tone. The rest of Ria's peerage wanted to retort, Kiba especially, but Naruto beat them to it. Oh, that would be me, Missy, so how about this then? Asia-chan heals you to 100% and I will take you both on. Naruto didn't finish as he was cut off. Oh hell no, that's enough panties for one day, shouted a blushing Sona. Oh come on Sotan, it's holy virgin panties of high quality too, I want them. Hehe. Naruto whined. He was not going to let those high quality panties walk out of here, no way. They were calling to him, mocking him, saying that they are untouchable, so yeah, he was going to take them. No, do you want to cause a diplomatic incident? Sona tried to reason with him for her own reasons, that's all. A diplomatic incident about panties, the panty incident, I don't think so, it would be too embarrassing if a war was fought over panties. Our guests were confused and nerved at the same time. Why do they get the feeling that this guy was a pervert? If we beat your students, what makes you think you can take us on at the same time? The blue-haired one asked again. I don't know, because I can. Come on, it will be great, I tell ya, and I want to see if you are capable of protecting those swords of yours. Now this got the reaction he needed. Are you saying we are incapable of protecting these swords? If that's the case, then you are on. We will beat you to a bloody pulp, the blue-haired one said as she shot out of her chair. But then tomorrow be ready to lose them holy virgin panties. Heh. Thanks for watching.